Welcome to my video lecture series in Object-Oriented Programming. This is Professor Janus Raymond Tan from the College of Computing and Engineering. For this video lecture, we will cover the topics about class fields and methods. Throughout this video, we will discuss what is a class field, the final keyword, multiple objects, what is a class method, and the main method. What is a class field? Objects correspond to things found in the real world. For example, a graphics program may have objects such as circle, square, menu. An online shopping system might have objects such as a shopping cart, customer, and product. When a number of objects are created from the same class blueprint, they each have their own distinct copies of instance variables or fields. A class field represents the state. When we say state, it refers to the attribute, property, characteristic, or something which describes an object. In the case of the dog class, the states or instance variables or class fields in programming are breed, age, color, and each dog object, just like Buddy and Milo, have their own values such as German Shepherd for the breed, age for the age, and black for the color of body object, Labrador for the breed, 4 for age, and brown for color of Milo as a dog object. Each dog object has its own values for these variables, stored in different memory locations. Now, what is the class field? So, the class field syntax, in order for us to define a class field, you need to follow a simple syntax, which is the access modifier, which is private, public, or protected, or even default, followed by the data type such as string, int, double, float, or boolean, and followed by the field name. So examples are public, which is the access modifier, int as the data type, id as the field name. Next is private as the access modifier, followed by double as the data type, and hourly rate as the field name. Notice that I'm using here a specific naming convention. Later on, I will be discussing that. Protected string address. Notice that in the example shown in the slide, public, private, and protected are used for class field declaration. These are access modifiers or simply modifiers or accessors or something that we will use to control the access level of the class fields defined. It defines the visibility or accessibility of the class field across different classes of your program. We will have a separate discussion on access modifiers for the next lessons. For now, we will use public as the access specifier. Now for the naming convention, so before we discuss how to access the class fields, we need to first know the naming convention in terms of defining class fields. Following a specific naming convention in programming maintains code readability and understandability as project code size increases. Additionally, naming conventions aims for the following. Number 1, ease of understanding the code, especially when working with complex programs that needs project teams in development. Since project teams consist of a number of programmers, following a standard in naming will help in understanding each other's code, especially when troubleshooting. It enables code reviews to focus on more important issues than arguing over syntax and naming standards. Having uniform naming variables, class, and methods will eliminate unimportant matters during the development. Thus, focus only in more important issues. Enables code quality review tools to focus their reporting mainly on significant issues other than syntax and style preferences. Towards finishing the course, we will use CamelCase for the naming convention when defining class fields, specifically the lower CamelCase for defining class fields and upper CamelCase for defining method names. CamelCase is a naming convention in which a name is formed of multiple words that are joined together as a single word with the first letter of each of the multiple words capitalized so that each word that makes up the name can easily be read. Just like in the figure shown, the upper camel case, the first letter of the word is uppercase, allowing it to be easily distinguished from a lower camel case name, in which the first letter of the first name is the lower case. So here's the difference. This is the lower camel case, the first character of the first word of a two-word name is small. That is for the class fields. And in the methods, we will use upper case, wherein the first character of the first word is written in camel case. The advantage of camel case is that in any computer system where the letters in a name have to be contiguous or no spaces, a more meaningful name can be created using a descriptive sequence of words without violating the naming limitation. So getting and accessing class fields. You can access class fields values by creating an object of the class and by using the dot notation or the dot syntax. Now when getting or accessing the value, use the given syntax. So for example, if you want to print the value of a given class field, you have to first state the name of your object, followed by a dot, followed by the name of the class field. Example, let's say we have a dog class. We created a dog object named body using this constructor. Therefore, we will be having the access to all of its defined class fields. Let's say, for example, body has an age class field. So for us to be able to print that, you need to first write the name of your object, for example, body, followed by a dot, followed by the name of your class field. So setting and mutating class fields. You can set or mutate the values of class fields by using the name of the object created, followed by an equal sign, and the new value to set. So when setting or mutating the value, use the given syntax. Again, write the name of the object, followed by a dot, followed by the class field name, followed by an equal sign, and followed by the new value. So always make it sure that the data type of the value you'll be setting is the same data type of the class field name. For example, if you want to change the value of the class field name age of the dog using the body as an object name, the following should be the code. Dog body is equals to new dog, creating the object, then body.age is equal to 7. So body is the name of your object, that is our notation to access the class fields, age is the name of our class field, equal sign, 7 is the new value. Now to demonstrate the use of class fields in terms of getting and setting, so let us consider the dog class for our program. So let us define the possible class fields of the dog class. So let us define public as the access modifier or specifier of our class field. Then string, since we'll be accepting a string value for the breed. Followed by another string variable to hold the value for the eye color. Another variable named age, let us say double variable to accept decimal value for the age. And inside our public static void main to serve as an entry point of our program for program execution, let us first create an object of our dog class. Let's say dog, the name of our object, body, using equal sign. This is the process of instantiation. Use the new keyword, followed by your constructor, which is the same name of your class as your class name, which is dog. That is the constructor. So let us set the values of the class fields first before getting and printing the values. Otherwise, we will not be getting any output. So let us first define the value for the breed. So again, to set the value, let us use the name of the object of the dog named body, followed by a dot, So anything defined in your class field as a public access specifier will appear here in the suggestions of Java Eclipse. So let's say for example we want to set the breed. So kindly select the breed. Again, it shows here that it accepts a string value. So meaning to say, the one we will be input here, the one that we will enter here is a string value. So we will use double quotation marks. Let's say German Shepherd. Next is body dot what else? Eye color. So again, it accepts string as the value. Let's say black as the color of its eye color. Then next one is its age. So body dot age is equals to, this time, as you notice, age accepts double because double is the data type we specified upon declaration. So it only accepts double values. Let's say equals to 7 years old. Let's say. And so we are done with setting the values of the class field. So this time, let us print the values of each class field. So using system.out that print, let's say ln or print line, so that we will be able to print one line after the other. So let's put a label. So dogs breed. So for us to be able to access the value from our class field, simply type what? Let us type the name of the object, which is body, then dot. This time we are doing accessing, or we are getting the values of the class field. So followed by the dot notation, the name of the object, followed by the dot, we will be able to access again our class fields as declared in the top of our class. So let's say dogs breed. So let us get the breed. So that's easy. Oh, that is how easy how to get the values of a given class field. So let us copy and paste. Let us change the labels. Let's say eye color. Then this should be body dot eye color. Next is age. Then we can access also the age using that notation. So as long as you are typing the name of the object, you will be able to access all of its class value or class field values. So let us run the program to see what will be the output. So as shown here in the console window, we are able to print the values of our breed of the dog, the German Shepherd. Okay, followed by the eye color, black, followed by the age, which is 7. Okay, so let's say for example, we change the value of the eye color, let's say brown. So automatically, once you change the value of the eye color, it will also be updated with the getting here. Okay, when we access the value of the eye color, it will also be updated. Okay, so notice here that it changes from black to brown. That's it. The final keyword. The final keyword is used to define class fields in a constant manner, meaning the class field will not be changeable. In Java, constant class and variables can be achieved by defining the class field with the final keyword. The code given shows how to use the final keyword. Setting the value breed class field after declaring initializing the class field is not possible since it is declared final. The final keyword is useful when you want a variable to always store the same value, like pi equivalent to 3.14159. To demonstrate the use of final keyword, let us define a class field inside the dog class named breed as a final variable. So using final as the keyword means that the variable we'll be defining will not be changeable. Let's say final, data type, string, and breed, the name of our class field or variable. Let's say we set this as German Shepherd. Now, starting from the declaration and initialization of this class field, it should not be possible for us to be able to change this value anymore. So we will not be able to perform setting later on. So let us say we will create a dog object named body. Again, is equals to new dog object. So at this point, automatically body has the value for its breed equivalent to German Shepherd. So once we set the value of the dog object named body using its breed final class field, let's say for example Dalmatian. Okay, so let us see what will happen. So let us run the program. Then that's it. So according to the error, the final field dog.breed cannot be assigned. So it cannot be changed because we define that as a final keyword, meaning to say at the start of its declaration, throughout the code, it will not be changeable. So that's the use of the final keyword, a variable defined which will not be changed for the rest of your execution. That's it. Multiple objects. If you create multiple objects of one class, you can change the class field values in one object without affecting the class field values in the other. Example, making two dog objects of the dog class having different values for class fields. To demonstrate the use of multiple objects, let us consider our previous example. So far, we created the class for the dog having these class fields such as breed, eye color, and age, and we created a first dog object. We set the values of the class field values, and we are able to print the values of its class fields. So this time, we will try to make another dog object. So let us copy this code and paste it here. So let us fix the spacing to make it more readable. So this time, we will make another dog object. So we will not use body anymore. Instead, we will use, let's say, Milo. Okay. So let us check or let us set the value of the class fields of the second dog. So let us rename the labels. Second dog. Okay. Let us change the value of the breed of Milo. So to make it sure that you are changing Milo and not body, come to observe the name of your object here at the left side. So instead of body, if you want to change Milo, we use Milo. So changing body will affect this one. Okay, so we don't want to do that. So what we want to do is to change or set the value of the new dog object named Milo. Let's say Milo is a Labrador dog. Its eye color is brown. And its age, let's say for example, 3 years old. So for us to be able to print the breed or the values of the class fields of Milo, of course, we will change this one. Milo. So as you can see here, the breed of the two dogs are different. Okay, so you will see also that the eye color and the age are also different. Now this time, what I want you to observe is that Milo does not affect the values we set in body. Okay, so let us run the program. Yan, so the first dog, we have German Shepherd, eye color black, and dog's age is 7. So notice that it is still the same content as we've set in the first dog since we use body as the name of our object. Now, creating another object named Milo, we are able to make another dog having its own class field values such as Labrador, Brown, and 3.0. So that is how to make multiple objects of a given class. What is a class method? A class method defines the behavior or action of an object. The behavior of an object is defined by its methods, which are the functions and subroutines defined within the object class. Without class methods, a class would simply be a structure. Example, in dog class, we can define bark, run, eat, which are possible methods of the dog class. In ball class, we can define bounce and inflate. It follows uppercase CamelCase syntax for naming methods. Let's say, for example, we have play, single word, capital P. The first word is capital since we are using upper CamelCase. Send message, the first word, the first letter of the first word and the first letter of the second word is are both capital. Open up, same as send message. And list by course code, also we use capital letter for each word. Okay. Methods determine what type of functionality of a class has, how it modifies its data, and its overall behavior. Methods go beyond what properties do for an object, in that they are not bound by a rigid implementation guideline and are not tied to a member data item. They can be subroutines or functions and declared as public, protected, and private. A class method is a block of code which usually runs when it's called. So meaning to say, it will not execute unless you call that method. It was able to accept and pass data known as parameters inside this parenthesis. It is used to perform certain actions which are also known as functions. Okay? To define a class method, you need to follow a simple syntax. You need to define the access modifier again, either public, private, or protected, or even default, followed by the return type. Return type means what the data type the method will be returning if in case you do so. Let's say, for example, int, string, double, float, boolean. But if your method does not or will not return any value, use void instead. Void, V-O-I-D. Followed by the method name, a choice of your own, but making sure you need to follow the upper CamelCase syntax so that we will not be able to be confused when it comes to naming our class fields and methods. And parameters separated by comma if you have more than one parameter inside its parentheses, followed by an open curly brace. Then the method body. Method body will contain all possible Java code syntax and a close curly brace here. Demonstrate to you the use of class methods, we will define our method after the class fields. So let us modify our class dog in the previous example. So let's say, for example, we wanted to print that the dog is barking using a method. So we define first using the syntax. We need to first define the access modifier or specifier. Let's say public because I wanted to become usable even outside this class. Okay, so public. So this time I will not return any value. That's why I will be using void. Let's say bark. So I use capital B because we will be following the upper CamelCase syntax. Then inside the pair of curly braces, we will define the body of the method. Again, what we wanted to do is just to print that the dog is barking. So system.out that print line, then the dog is barking. Okay. So my method is a method which does not return any value and does not accept any parameters. So how we will be able to call that method? Also, how we will be able to use this? So to use this, of course, after defining your object, make it sure you first define the object before calling the method because you will not be able to call that having no reference. Okay. The syntax for calling the method is just like calling or setting or getting the value of your class field. You need to first type the name of your object, followed by the dot notation, and followed by the name of your method. Let's say, for example, right after printing the values of the class fields, I want to print or call the bark method. So let us type the name of our object, body, that the name of our method, it will also appear here immediately. Okay, so let's say bark. So that is how to call the method. The name of your object, that notation, followed by the name of your class method. So let us run the program and see what will happen. Okay, so we are able to print again the values of our fields just like this one. And we are able to print, of course, what is inside our method, which is it prints the phrase the dog is barking. So that is how to call a method. The main method. The main method serves as the entry point of every Java program. All Java programs must have an entry point, which is always the main method. Whenever the program is called, it automatically executes the main method first. It can appear in any class that is part of a small application, just like the sample program from the previous lesson, in which we define the main method inside the single class we created. We must create a separate class for the main method if the program is a complex application. The main class can have any name, although typically it will just be called main. Note that the main method is defined within curly braces and is declared with three keywords like public, static, void. Okay? Public means the method is public and therefore available to anyone. Static means this method can be run without having to create an instance of the class. Void means that this method does not return anything. String arguments, this method will take a string argument. Note that the argument args can be anything. It's common to use args, but we could instead call it string array. A dog class and a main class will be used to demonstrate the separation of the main method for our code execution. Now, to demonstrate the use of the main method that we will be separating in our previous program, I will make another class named main.java. So main.java so far is blank. Okay, so in this case, from our dog class, we will cut and paste the code for our public static void main. So the main method will be executed inside our main class. So we will paste the main method here. Okay, so since main.java and dog.java resides within the same folder location in my project, just like this one, dog and main.java, main.java knows and recognizes the dog object. That's why in main.java, we did not encounter any errors here. Okay, dog class is recognized within this class. Okay, so dog.java, it will only contain the class fields and its methods, and inside our main.java will contain our code execution. Just like this one, we create the object, we set the values of the class field, we get the values and print the class field values, and we are able to call the method named bark. So let us try to execute the program. So same as our previous example, it will also print the values of the breed, eye color, and age, and also it will execute the method which is bark that prints the dog is barking. So that is how to separate our main method from our dog class by creating another class named main. In summary, class fields are instance variables that describes the characteristics of a class. Class methods defines the action or behavior of a particular class. Following a specific naming convention in programming maintains code readability and understandability as project code size increases. Constant class fields and variables can be achieved by defining the class field with the final keyword. All Java programs must have an entry point, which is always the main method. For this lesson's activity, from the given image, create your own Java program to illustrate a dog class named dog.java that will contain the given set of class fields. A class method of the dog class named showDetails will be called inside the main method through an object of the dog class named rain in order to print all the contents of the class fields of the object in the console window. A separate class named main.java will contain the main method that will execute the code. Post the link of your working Java code using your account in codiva.io inside the Post tab of Week 3 channel of our MS Teams. So here is the given illustration. Same as the previous lesson. Now, that's it for now. Thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed this video. For inquiries, feel free to post your questions in our group chat. In our next video, we will discuss all about the class constructors. So don't forget to visit the links in the references section for more information about this lesson. See you in the next video.